Okay, we're live.
We are live now on Instagram and all the platforms, ready to go, ready to flow, ready to serve, ready to swerve. Let's go.
I love it.
Let's go.
All right, press and record on this episode. And 3, 2, 1.
Leaders and healers from around the globe, from around the universe. I'm your host, Anthony Cheam. Welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. I am your host, Anthony Cheam. This is a podcast where we help you claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest, widest, and highest passions on the planet. Best, better version of yourself, ultimately serving the world's needs, your needs, and everyone around you's needs, so you can ultimately inspire others to serve and be better and to be the best version of themselves. Thank you for joining us. I am just so stoked for this because we are in the midst, at the very tail end of this 5-step process to the 5 biggest basically obstacles, challenges that every human being that endures on any journey that you're on towards success or happiness or fulfillment, whatever it is. And as you notice, I'm a little bit quiet right now just because there's people around me and my family's home. I usually do this podcast at 2 p.m., but it's around 3:40 p.m. in the afternoon. But right now we're ready to serve you, ready to go. And step number 4 in this process is our step 4 challenge, or the 4th challenge that we go through. And just to recap, the first one was fear. The second one was procrastination. The third one was distractions. And the 4th one is the also powerful overwhelm or overloaded, and how we human beings become overloaded and overwhelmed in our life. And when I'm sure you have experienced this on a number of levels in your life. I'm certainly experiencing it right now in my life, my personal life, my professional life, with the death of my mother, with the death of my wife's grandmother, and organizing financials. And because I'm one of the executors on a will, I'm just going crazy with bank appointments and canceling this and canceling that. And I'm learning the arduous, long task of being a patient in this process. But I'm certainly get overwhelmed and stressed about it because it is a reminder of my mother as well. So it's also both saddening, distracting, overwhelming. So, and as you probably noticed, my voice is a little bit off. Just a funny little story. I'm allergic to cats. So my sister works at a veterinary clinic, and she was in my car, and she gets a lot of cat hair. And immediately when I got in the car, I immediately felt like these hives on my body, and I started to get stuffy, all these things. So I don't have a cold, but I'm allergic to it. And I took some Reactine, so I am feeling okay. I'm ready to go. I'm energized. So Cam, thank you for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really, really good, man. I'm excited for this topic. I'm excited for every day because as I think I told you this a while ago, a lot of people say, oh, watch one TED Talk a day and your life will change because every day you're getting inspired by a new idea or a new something. And I don't even need to try, and I'm getting inspired by the daily by Mr. Anthony Cheam over here. So
Thanks, man.
I cannot complain.
Man.
Yeah, no, I'm doing really well. Anthony actually just shared some audios with me yesterday, some spiritual tapes, and I've been listening to them. Crazy stuff. And I'm actually very excited because I have a feeling we're gonna get more into spiritual concepts later on, right? So that's exciting.
Oh,
Anyways,
100% for sure.
So
yes, definitely.
Yeah. So take it away, man.
Yeah, you know what? When it comes to overwhelm, a lot of people, what I tend to find is people get overwhelmed, and what they do is, Tony Robbins talks about majoring in minor things and taking on way too much, biting off more than you can chew is an overly used statement. And I think in our North American culture, we do not value doing one thing at a time. We value multitasking, and that seems to be the big thing. But let me tell you something. They've done neurological studies on the brain. The brain cannot be in that state of flow when you got your brain focused on 5 or 6, 7, 8 different things. Now, the feminine brain has been studied. They are able to do multiple things. But in terms of mastery, in terms of ultimate fulfillment, doing one thing at a time is the most important thing I can tell you. Focusing on one thing at a time. When I was writing my books, or I'm speaking, or I'm singing, or I'm playing the piano, or playing guitar, or whatever it might be doing, I can't be thinking about what I'm fearing while I'm playing my piano or playing guitar or doing something I love to do, or speaking in front of audience. I got to be fully present with where I am, with what I'm doing, so I can give the best of me as humanly possible, be present moment in my life and the people that I'm serving. So one of the greatest things that I've learned about how to overcome overwhelm is I've talked this book before. One of my original mentors used to say to me, Anthony, what's the acronym for WIN? WIN. What's important now? And so ask yourself that question: what's really important now? Is it doing these to-do lists or to-do tasks, all day long and focusing on these things? Or is it, okay, what result am I really after today? What's one result that if I produce that result, and if I moved in that direction of that result, would I be completely fulfilled, and I could hammer this home and bring home the best possible fulfillment and emotion to my life, so I can then share that emotion, share that experience with the people around me. So one of the things that I do when I'm overwhelmed is I actually take a few steps back, literally, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I take a few steps back and I ask myself this question. I go, okay, all right, what's one thing I can do right now that's most important in this moment? And then it immediately takes me out of overwhelm into focusing on one thing. So it might be, go for a walk. It might be write my book. Oh, it might be pay a bill. It might be whatever it might be. It could be some small task. And once you get yourself back in the pattern of focus and back into command and control of your mind and your body and your emotions, then guess what happens? You get into a flow and you're able to handle things differently. If you're focusing on 10 different things at a time, number one, you're wasting time. Number two, you're not feeling good. You're feeling scattered. You're feeling fearful. You tend to procrastinate when you're focusing on 10, or if you're overloaded or overwhelmed. So one of the things you can do is three steps to overcome overwhelm. Number one, take a step back and just literally, you got to take a few minutes, go for a walk, change your state, whatever it is, change your focus, change your physiology, change your language, go do something where you kind of step back and go, all right, I need a couple minutes just to kind of just come down from this overwhelming state. Take a few steps back. Step number two, ask yourself the question, what's one thing I can do in this moment now? That's it. That's most important to me right now. That's going to that I want in terms of how I feel, the feeling of fulfillment and happiness in my life. It could be business related. It could be health related. It could be relationship related, whatever it might be. And then step number three, take action. In action, you can't do something, set an intention or set a goal and objective without taking action. You don't want to set a goal or an objective in life and go, hey, I'm going to produce this result. I'm going to set this goal. I'm going to go towards this goal and then not do anything about it. Well, you know what? That was my primary problem with watching The Secret. The Secret, I do believe in a lot of the principles about The Secret, but a lot of things that The Secret was missing was this idea of taking action, consistent action towards those goals or objectives you wish to produce in life. You don't want to sit and meditate on $1 million and go all day long and not do anything about it. So you got to do your part. You got to do your part in the miracle process. And part of that is overcoming fear, overcoming procrastination, overcoming distractions, and overcoming overwhelm. Because one of the biggest things for me that I do, I end up taking on too much. That's one of my flaws personally. I end up taking on too much, setting all these appointments, like marking them in my calendar, literally from 4 o'clock in the morning right till 9 o'clock at night. And if I miss one thing, I get frustrated, or I get overwhelmed, or I feel like I'm beating up myself. So I've learned to spread out my time a bit more, take my time with things, ask myself the question, what's important now? And be more present. It's a practice in patience. It's a practice in persistence. It's a practice in peace. It's a practice in presence. So the idea of overcoming overwhelm, let me repeat myself. Number one, just take a few steps back, take a couple minutes just to unwind and just take a step back and observe it yourself for a moment. Go for a walk, change your state, go exercise, whatever it might be. That's step number two. Ask yourself the question, what's really important now that'll lead me in the direction of the result that I'm after, which could be a feeling that I want, of being happy, or a feeling of momentum, a feeling of success, whatever it might be. And then step three, take action. And once you start taking action, your brain's going to go right back into that flow state. You're going to get in momentum. You're going to be in that state of total that zone state where you feel like, oh, I'm taking action, and the stars align, the universe aligns, and you are feeling much better about your life. And so that's one of the things that I personally do, my own strategy. You can come up with your own, but the one thing I do know is that I do get overwhelmed a lot. And when I reach threshold, I need to step back. So I've learned that before I reach that threshold, I got to go, wait a second here. I'm taking on way too much. I'm getting tight in my body. My brain's racing. I need to give myself some love. And you talk about spirituality, Cam, one of the things I've learned to do, and James Finley, one of my spiritual heroes, and Richard Rohr, one of the things James Finley says is that, what's the most loving thing that I can do for myself based on where I am? What's the most loving thing that I can do for other people based on where they are? What's the most loving thing I can do for an animal or the plant or the universe? And that's one thing. That's a great strategy to overcome overwhelm and go, you know what? I'm feeling fearful. I'm feeling I don't feel good about my life right now. What's the most loving thing I can do for myself that will help me heal and deliver me from my suffering and my pain? So again, repeat. Step one, step back. Step two, What's important now? Ask yourself the question. And number 3, take action. And those are 3 things I do all the time, because I tend to get just crazy all the time. My appointments, I'm booked all the time. And just appreciating where I am in my life right now. That's also another way to overcome overwhelm. Just get in a state of gratitude. And because you can't get in a state of empowerment from a state of fear and overwhelm, but you can get success, feeling fulfilled, state of gratitude, love, and fulfillment. What do you think, Cam?
Sorry, you were cutting out just a little bit at the end there. But,
no problem.
We got most of it. Sorry for the internet issues here, guys. But no, I love those 3 steps. So take a step back, and it's funny how, like, you could be overwhelmed, like you have a ton of things going on in your life, but doing nothing is what helps the most. Like stepping back and like let the responsibilities, like, I mean, you might feel like a house is burning down. Like I have like 5 houses I got to deal with right now. Sometimes you got to let them burn down in a sense, but at the end of the day, it's not nearly as bad as you think it was. Just by stepping back or just by saying no to someone. My big issue was just saying, I could do that for you. Yeah, I can help you with that. Yeah, I got you.
Dude.
And I still deal with that, man.
Totally. Well, that's the biggest problem I have too. Is I'm thinking of writing a little excerpt, not really a book, but something about the power of no, power of saying no, and being okay with not letting people down. Because most people associate saying no to someone they care about with letting them down. No, saying no to someone actually frees yourself to be the best you possible. And here's the problem: when you say yes to people all the time, you get overwhelmed, you get frustrated. And half of your energy goes down, half of your passion, and then you start getting fearful, procrastinating on the things that are most important to you, and then you start to resent people. But really, do you have a really reason to resent people when you're the one who said yes to people? And then you start to have that self-resentment, like, oh my gosh, I'm taking on too much. Why do I keep doing this to myself? So learn to step back and say no. Determine what's most important in your life compared to what's not important in your life. And this goes back to the first 3 steps that we talked about: procrastination, fear, and distraction. And one of the best strategies you can use to overcome all 4 of those, and number 5 is tomorrow, indulging in disempowering states of emotion or physiological states that are disempowering, that are not serving your deepest and highest needs and desires. And I can tell you right now, just from my own personal point of view, I know for me personally, that those 5 things have literally been a hindrance in my life. That it's fear and procrastination, overwhelm, distractions, indulging in disempowering states. Those are 5 things personally for me I've had to struggle. I still struggle with from time to time. But the difference between me now and me 2 years ago or 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the difference is the time when I actually notice that I'm in one of those set states, procrastination, fearful states, whatever it might be, and the time I correct it, it's a lot less. It's not like I take 2 months to learn the lesson. It's like I take a week or a day or even an hour. Well, I'd say, even perfect example of this. The other day I woke up in the morning, I was not feeling good. I was tired. I just didn't feel like meditating. I didn't feel like doing my morning routine. And I was frustrated. I'm not going to lie. I'm a human. I was not feeling good. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. And I remember just sitting there going, I don't want to do any of this. And I lied down. And then there was this sort of devil angel conversation. The angels were like, you should do it. You should do it. And the other devil was like, no, you're a loser. You suck. Just go back to sleep. And it was just like this fight. And I remember just getting up and saying, stop. And I stepped back for a second and I took a drink of water and I said, you know what? What's the most loving thing I can do for myself right now? And I just walked downstairs and I started exercising and I started, saying some prayers and it was just spontaneous. I didn't have an agenda. And then within literally 5, 6, 7 minutes, I started to feel better. I started to see things better. And my experience of life was transformed. And all it did was take 6 or 7 minutes. And I remember reflecting on that moment when I was like, wow, this used to take me, I used to turn disappointment and disaster where I'd beat myself and it would take me a month to get back in the game. Now it's only taking me 6 to 7 minutes. So that's one of the measurements of true emotional maturity, of not beating yourself up, noticing what mistake and when you made the mistake, and the time it takes to finally correct it, and then learn, extract, or draw from that lesson or that experience. So again, step 1, I'll repeat myself. Step back, as you said, do nothing. Just step back and go, take a breather, go for a walk, whatever it is, change your state. Number 2, ask yourself the question, what's important now? What's one thing I can do that's going to get me move me in the results that are my deepest heart-filled desires? And then number 3, take one action. That's it. One, the power of no, saying yes to life, and as opposed to saying no to somebody else. Say yes to who you are, say yes to your dreams and desires. And let me tell you, your life will be that much more peaceful and fulfilling. You'll be less overwhelmed and taking on too much. That's a big one for me too, as well. So thank you for joining us as well. Cam, you have anything else to say, my friend?
Oh, that's honestly about everything. When it comes to overwhelm, I really enjoy the fact that you mentioned beating yourself up, because like, dude, when I make a mistake and I know that it was a mistake, I pat myself on the back, because I'm like, dude, you just realized that it was a mistake. Most people just make mistakes and they're just like what? You know, but no, you are aware of the fact that, hey, that's not who you really are. And so if anything, say thank you for the mistakes you make. Because as a skateboarder, I would not be skateboarding if I didn't accept the fact that I'm going to fall every now and then. And so now, dude, I fall like once a year. Literally just once a year. And I put hundreds of kilometers, I feel, on my board. That's how I get around. That's my mode of transportation. For sure. And I fall once a year. And it's like the price you have to pay, you know? But once you fall, once you like turn a sharp turn in rain, as an example, you're never going to do it ever again. You learn your lesson.
Exactly.
So it's like you're going to learn these lessons one way or another. It's best
whether
you do
like
them
it or
now.
not.
It's best you do them now, and it's best you thank the fact that it's in the past and you don't have to make that mistake again, and move on.
You got it. Well, listen, you know what? Overwhelm, I think, and again, in North America, I think we are trained and drained by the fact that we got to succeed, and we're pushed to succeed, and you know, and get all this money and make all this success and be the best we can be, but from an external point of view, not necessarily from an interior point of view about who we are as human beings, as opposed to human doing. So I think taking a step back, examining your life on a consistent basis, and making the upgrade, and focusing on what it is you want rather than what you don't want, what you fear, and taking a step back from time to time and just resting, allowing yourself that 6th or 7th day of rest. It's so important. I used to go 7 days straight, hard. I still find myself doing that, but as soon as I find myself getting exhausted, getting charged for no reason, I end up actually just taking a full day off, or a full weekend off, or a full week off, and just getting off the grid and just allowing myself to rest and recharge like a battery. And when I return back to my work, man, I'm way more focused. I'm way more passionate. My ability to serve and pay attention, to be present with people, is enhanced. And let me tell you, it's so, so vital. So thank you for joining us today to your continued upgrade and evolution. Live it up with power, purpose, and passion. And if you like this episode, if you like this podcast, subscribe, like, comment, share it with people that you care about, because we want to serve you. We want to help you. I want to give the best of Anthony Cheam and what I've learned in this world so far to you, for you, through you, as you, in partnership with you. So thank you, guys. God bless. We love you. Thank you so much.